out of line, but he's right.
Greetings, fellow mortals. Just a reminder, saying it's just my opinion is for cowards. Of course it's my opinion, what else would this be? In a lot of ways, I feel like the marketing for Disney's Wish has been one giant prank. Like they're intentionally making the film seem stupid to get a reaction, to get people arguing. Then they flip it on its head to make an actually great story about having the correct combination of responsibility, humility, and compassion, where both the king and the princess were a little bit wrong and had to learn something together. Now that would be a really good tale. But this is current Disney. At what point in the last 6 to 7 years have they tried anything like that? Never, exactly. From my perspective, it looks like the princess is chosen as the heir and doesn't like what the king is doing. She thinks everyone's wishes should be granted. So she gets a power, goes behind the king's back, and does what she wants. And everyone is happy but the king. Angered that he's not the only one with absolute power, he lashes out, ruins everything, is defeated by the princess, either dies or admits that he's wrong, that this princess is super better at everything than him in every single way possible, so he steps down. Then the princess grants everyone's wishes, making the world happy, and the film ends with the camera pulling back away from the castle as fireworks go off, mimicking the Disney logo and implying that this is the origin story of the goddess of the Disney movies who makes all of these dreams come true.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Now, I could very well be wrong. This is my doomer version of the tale. This is the worst possible thing that I could think of. And I might find a way to see at least the ending of this film to see if I'm close to being right. I honestly hope that's not the case though. I don't care much about lessons in kids' movies, but the implication that everyone's wishes should be granted first and then dealt with later is terrible. There are literally endless stories about wishes going wrong and having unintended consequences. And the last thing first world nations need right now is for their people to become more entitled, acting like life should be fair when it has never been fair. Unfortunately, we have to live with what we've got. Now you might be thinking, why do you care about this so much, love of storytelling? And the truth is, I really don't. This video is purely because I find the idea behind this movie amusing. It tickles me that such a seemingly terrible concept would go this far with such beautiful animation, and no one said a single thing about it. It has to be a twist, that the princess was wrong or that there needs to be a compromise, because if everything is played straight like in the trailers, this might be the single stupidest series of bad decisions I've seen in a single high-budget Disney film. And this is a year after Strange World was abandoned to die because the overseas market did not like it.
Oh, I made myself sad.
It's just all comically bad to me. I'm just baffled by the decision making and just like to watch and stare at it. For an easy comparison, just look at Bruce Almighty. That's a film that actually tackles the themes of being a god, answering prayers. Yes, it's a comedy featuring Jim Carrey, but it did actually get me thinking when I was a kid. Were my prayers selfish? Would I accidentally hurt people by asking for things for myself? If I wish for health for my loved ones, am I taking that health away from someone else? Is waiting around wanting for things really the right thing to do? Hell, do I even know what I actually want?
Since when does anyone have a clue about what they want?
Those were questions I was asking myself right after I watched Bruce Almighty. It had an effect on me. Perhaps it wasn't the only piece of art that made me think that way, but I've always remembered the scene with Jim Carrey answering prayers on his computer, saying yes to all of the requests, and the world falling apart because of it. Is it the best film in the world? No, but it got me thinking, and that's an accomplishment. After all, it helped lead to my entire thought process on the power of wishes, determinism, and how far an authority figure should go. It's almost like I'm writing a 15-book series about those concepts. Shameless plug here. Imagine if Wish did something like what Bruce Almighty did, where it talked about the intricacies of selfish desires and prayers, or even too much selflessness, where the princess tries to help too many people, stretches herself too thin, and then hurts people because of her actions. There needs to be caution with power. There needs to be consequences to what you do. There is such a thing as caring too much, and the king could learn to be a little bit more compassionate and a little self-centered at the same time. It would be a great story with a message that might stick with many kids, that there needs to be a middle ground among what you want, what everyone else wants, and what's good for the world. Unfortunately, the combination of the advertisement, people's gut reactions, and my amusement over the idea that it is going to be played straight could lead to my worst idea possible being true. There's a weird combination of narcissism and showing how much you care about people in the public space right now. People advocate for many things while not thinking about the full implications of what they're trying to achieve or do. Usually they just want attention, to be loved, to be admired, to be respected. They're so focused on larger issues and causes that they don't see the people around them getting hurt. Block a road or destroy a piece of property, and someone might lose their job. They might get hurt. Hell, their kids might go hungry that night. It's part of being an adult. You have to consider the full implications of your actions. Even if your intentions are good, what really matters is the end result and the actions you took to get there. It doesn't matter how you felt about the situation. The end result is still the end result, and people suffering is still, in fact, people suffering.
By the gods, what have I become?
Okay, but what if Wish ends up being terrible? Does it really matter? Well, if my worst instincts are correct, it might have some long-lasting consequences for Disney. Remember that the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse goes into public domain in 2024. That means Disney doesn't have complete control over that character anymore. I can't tell you the exact details of everything because I'm not a lawyer, but you could legally use at least some version of Mickey Mouse in your own stories, pictures, or movies, and there would be no negative consequences to you. You know, other than being blacklisted by Disney for the rest of time, but as long as you don't plan to go to Hollywood, who really cares? I could see the company trying to slowly replace Mickey Mouse with a new character. Now, I don't have a problem with, what's her name? Princess Asha? Okay then, being the new face of the corpo, that's fine, but I hope the story behind her is at least solid or okay. Now, you might be arguing, what about the song, When You Wish Upon a Star? Well, yes, that came from Pinocchio though, when the main character had to go through an extreme journey, witness terrible events, and come out stronger to get what he desired. In actuality, putting the fate of his life and dreams into someone else's hands was always the wrong thing to do. Actually, now that I think about it, wasn't there a live action remake of Pinocchio that came out lately?
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
That leads to a recent clip I saw where Asha asked the king about giving the wishes back if they were too dangerous. Well, one, if you give up your dream to someone else, you might not deserve it anymore, or even to remember it. Keep it for yourself and never let it go. That's my motto. And two, can you imagine the implications of giving the wishes back to people dangerous enough to ask for something that would destroy the country, where people suddenly remember their wishes, knowing their desires were rejected and others weren't by an all-powerful authority figure? I can guarantee you that someone would be unalived. Now that's a dark thought. Why would I think this? Oh, I don't know, because people are jealous. If they don't get what they want, they lash out. It's called crime. It literally happens all of the time. Of course, I am not defending the king's attitude through all this. He was obviously written to be narcissistic, arrogant, demeaning, and unlikable. I won't even bother to look up his name because he won't be all that memorable. Or maybe a bunch of people will simp for him. Oh, he was 100% in the right. Oh, he did nothing wrong. None of that is true, but I find myself leaning more on his side, at least compared to Asha, based on the trailer. Of course, that might be because I have the spirit of an 80-year-old man trapped in the body of a man in his 20s.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
Of course, all of my thoughts could be for nothing. This could very well just be a great film with an interesting message. Look, I don't expect much from movies lately. Recently, I heard someone say that the problem with them is that most movies are actually good, and I very much disagree. Most of them suck epic donkey balls. Most of everything sucks epic donkey balls. It's literally called Spurgeon's Law, but the 10% that's good makes wading through the dreck worth it. I never want a story to be bad. I prefer when things are good. It makes me super happy and excited. Sometimes I make random videos on stuff that I like, even if I know it won't get a whole lot of views, because I like talking about the things I enjoy. I won't hate Wish if it's bad. I'll just be a bit disappointed, and I'm sure some people will like it. Everything has fans. You want to know what my guilty pleasure was this season? Eminence in Shadow. It is 100% anime cliche trash. It really does not have me thinking about anything at all, and fan service is everywhere. Generic magic systems and fighting styles, stereotypical lore, but hot damn, the animation was pretty, and something about the terribleness of it just made my brain light up with dopamine. But I admit that it's bad. We just have to see if Wish is going to be a guilty pleasure or not, because I will laugh so hard if my prediction is even close to being true. You're welcome to disagree with me, that's fine. After all, everyone's entitled to their objectively wrong opinion.
And that's the way it was. And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Hey, do you like stories about an interconnected world? Then consider giving my LPCO books a try. They are all connected in some way, but you can jump in at any point, unless it's a series. Then you have to start at the beginning. But I got 3 books out right now and 3 coming next year. You will not have to wait long for content. Either way, thank you. I appreciate you. Do not despair.